Salmon, a.k.a. Diz, and this is the Force Always.
Welcome once again. Subscribe to this channel. You get Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews for myself. Got the hoodie on. It is still cold here in Melbourne, Australia. If you don't know where that is, right there, right, that little bit there, see, a little bit there. That's where I'm at, Melbourne, Australia. Let's get on with the Star Wars news. The lack of Star Wars news, I think, at the moment, is amounting to something. I think they want to keep it quiet, silent for the trailer to hit. Now, the trailer for The Last Jedi, or teaser 2, or trailer 2, whatever you want to review it as, will be in this month, August. When? This is a bit of a prediction on my behalf, but I think it's going to be Wednesday, August the 30th. That's just over a day before, it's almost like 2 days before Force Friday hits, which is the release of the Star Wars toys for The Last Jedi in the toy stores. So, and it'll also work on that day because the Star Wars show comes out on Wednesdays, some places in the world on a Thursday. Just depends on time difference. So I think Wednesday, August the 30th will be trailer 2, teaser 2, or the next trailer, whatever you like to say, for The Last Jedi. For us here in Australia, Thursday 31st August, early in the morning, like about 3 a.m. That's, you know, we're in the future here. To more news, Force Friday 2 is very, very close, and they're calling it Force Friday 2, even though this is not the second one. It's been a number of these things, but Force Friday 2 is about 3 weeks away. We've had more leaks from the Hasbro line of stuff. This week has been some starships, speeders, stuff like that. You can check it out online. They look pretty good to the continuity. I think the biggest one this week in talk-wise was the police cruiser speeder for Canto Bight, or the planet Cantico, which is where the casino planet is. Check that one out. So, to more news, Ron Howard's brother, Clint, will be making a cameo appearance to some sort of level in the young Han Solo film, which is yet to be titled. That's Ron Howard's brother, Clint. Apparently, Clint has appeared in all or most of Ron Howard's films, so I think that's great news. You know, it's who you know than what you know in this instance, but still, I think that's great. You know, all power to Ron Howard and Clint. I mean, Ron Howard so far is doing a great job, especially through Twitter, you know, showing the true fans what they really want to see and keeping it alive and showing the positivity, especially from the downfall from the unfortunate firing of the last directors, Lord and Miller, for the young Han Solo film. To more news, what has happened to the Forces of Destiny cartoon? These 2-minute-ish type sort of short cartoons on the female role models in Star Wars from across the board, prequels, originals, and even sequels that we're calling them at the moment. What has happened? It's just stopped. I've sort of done a bit of research on this, and even the Disney Channel seems to not be airing this. We've got 8 episodes. Whether they've stopped because of negative press, or they're waiting to time it again for a relaunch of it or something like this, or they've just completely cancelled. I'm unsure, but what has happened to Forces of Destiny? I enjoyed these little shorts. It was feeding my Star Wars obsession every couple of days. Anyway, so we've also heard this other news, which was about a week ago. Episode 9 gets some rewrites. Colin Trevorrow, the director of Episode 9, that's not Episode 8 that's coming out shortly. Episode 9, which is coming out in 2019. It should be May at this stage. It needs to be May because that December area of 2019 is starting to film big names at this point. One of those is the Wonder Woman release date. That's Wonder Woman 2. But episode 9 gets rewrites from a guy, Mr. Thorne. Let's call him Mr. Thorne. Now, he is creates some English type of entertainment. His history doesn't sort of say Star Wars, but from just perception of this guy, I think he could be a guy really to rely on in rewrites. Because a contrasting person when it comes to Star Wars or anything that's really good versus bad is always good to get a perspective from someone that does not look like he's going to be this all-conquering strong man. He doesn't look like, a real tough guy. Nothing wrong with that. But he just looks like, he's sort of behind a desk type of guy. But all power to him. I really implore that they've got a rewriter. Colin Trevorrow has asked for this apparently. And yeah, so that's what's happening with the Star Wars news this time around. Let's get into the views. Views this time around is episode 9 rewrites, as I was just talking about. Is it to do with General Leia or Princess Leia, whatever you like to refer to her as, aka Carrie Fisher? She did pass away, as we unfortunately know, from over 6 months ago now. If the rewrites is because of this area, I completely understand, especially when Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, whatever you like to say, had plans for having Carrie Fisher in episode 9. There's a lot of stability in creating that sort of setup to a story. But as I've said before, I think the best way to have this worked out is to have Billie Lourd, her actual daughter, who appeared in The Force Awakens as a part of the Resistance, step up in her character, and take over the role of General Leia. It would mark honour to the actual fans across the world with Star Wars, and for herself and her family, to take her mum's role. And with Princess Leia, General Leia, I don't think killing her off is going to solve it. I think for her to disappear like an unsolved mystery within the Star Wars storytelling would be the best way to deal with that. It would be forever unanswered and be a sort of a little bit annoying, but you would create it in a way that it's an unsolved mystery, which is a reality to storytelling and real life. And I think that's most important with Star Wars stories, is the fantasy and reality molding together. So this is not a prediction, as views are not my predictions. This is my storytelling ideas. I really do believe that Billie Lourd should step up her character and have her character become what General Leia is now, as we know it in the Star Wars universe, especially in The Last Jedi. So that's my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews is of a particular thing that's concerning to me at this stage. Canto Bight on the planet Cantico. Now we think it's called Cantico. The name of this planet was revealed in the last week. It's called Cantico, which is a bit reminiscent of Cantina, which was first seen and heard and felt in A New Hope episode 4. Apparently, this is meant to be reminiscent of that, especially with the rich people in a bar sort of casino area. There's 3 aspects that's a bit concerning, but not completely, lost. One is what we had released as a toy release this week, which was a police officer on a police speeder. Having police is a bit too close to reality for Star Wars. I just think it's, the Jedi sort of thing. Jedi is a way of saying police, in a way, in Star Wars. To have actual police, I know it's on a different planet, different universe, different whatever it is. It's a bit close to reality, and I'm wishing they handled this really specifically and not too bold in your face. As we've sort of seen in Rebels, it does come off a little bit cringeworthy. So I'm wishing that this part of the storytelling in The Last Jedi is handled well, because you're dealing with really fine line here. The other part to Counterbite that's a bit concerning is from the photo stills we've had of Counterbite. I'm wishing that the extras don't overact, because it looks like there could be a possible overacting area, because it just would make it cringeworthy. You know, be funky, be animated, but don't overact. It really would be just, you know, distracting. And the other part to the whole Canto Bight area is, I think that it looks modern, fantastic. It looks Star Wars, fantastic. But the pristine feel is what makes Star Wars not so fantastic to the hardcore fans. I think the reason why the originals come off better than the prequels to fans, not myself, fans, is because it feels lived in. Where the prequels were a bit too pristine, almost like Star Trek. Nothing against Star Trek, but Star Trek is very pristine. So I think Canto Bight's pristine feel, which sort of suits rich people, is from what I can tell that they're trying to convey, but it's got to be, you know, just not overemphasized. Star Wars, as George Lucas has put it, is a used future feel. I mean, not generally, but that's what he used as an ideal, as a concept within Star Wars, and I think that, for me, sells greatly. So that's my review. I won't get any score out of 10. It's just a concern that I should have put to light. Let's get into the interviews. Again, it's a 2Q, that's 2Q interview. That's 2 questions I ask myself, to answer for myself, and to answer for you guys out there. So, first question. Is Colin Trevorrow right for episode 9, The Last Jedi? Oh, sorry, not The Last Jedi. Colin Trevorrow right for episode 9, which is untitled at this point. Hasn't really started production. It does start in January. I'm going to say, in the very beginning, I was concerned, because he came off at that point as a commercial director for Jurassic World. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Star Wars is just going to get this, you know, over the top finish. But then I started thinking about the way that story was portrayed to us. It had finale feel to it. And as episode 9 is going to be the finale to the sequel trilogy, is what we're calling it at the moment, I think he is a good fit. And I think he's got great direction, editing, sort of assistance to all that, storytelling at this point. I think he's a good fit. There's a number of directors out there that could do this, but he's definitely one that I'm happy with. And I think he's got the tools for the trade. So, yes, is Colin Trevorrow right for episode 9, which is not called The Last Jedi? Yes. So my second question, is Rian Johnson right for episode 8, The Last Jedi? And I'll say, yes, I've never had a doubt. I don't know much about his work, but from what I've seen, let's refer to the first teaser or trailer, whatever you like, you call it, for The Last Jedi. It conveyed emotion with not much sort of gimmicky type Star Wars in it. And it had, for me, an original Karate Kid feel. With the music, with the look, with the, you know, canvas storytelling as he's, you know, pictures what's in the actual shot, I think was great. And I think he is the right person. He has an abstract way of doing things at times, which hopefully will pay off well with this Canto Bight thing that my concern is. But that's the biggest concern I have with The Last Jedi is that area. forget the Luke Skywalker or Mark Hamill talking about his character is so different and I wouldn't have taken it on that way type of thing, and some other negative possibilities that Last Jedi might have. I think Rian Johnson's way of dealing with abstract storytelling and emotion is great, but it has to work. And the only way you can really get to know if it works is when you see it. And personally, I would love to see a test screening, if that's ever possible, of this film to see if that's being done. Now, I'm no professional director or editor or storyteller. I'm just a regular fan that has done some extravagant stuff with Star Wars, but I love, first and foremost, movies and storytelling. It's just something that I love. I create things. But anyway, let's get back to the question. Is Rian Johnson right for episode 8? Yes. And I'm happy with it. Every single thing I've seen is great. Besides the Canto Bight area, I'm just, seeing how that plays out. Anyway, that's The Force Always for this week. As I come to the point where to remind everyone to subscribe, it's for free. Just, press notifications, subscribe, or the other way around, and you'll be seeing me every week talk about The Last Jedi, Star Wars, etc. And until next time, keep rockin'.